Hi, everyone. How are you? Hope you're doing well. My name's Carl. Welcome to this webinar on behalf of the TEFL org. I'm an online teacher. I'm a teacher trainer. I'm an English examiner based here in Northern Ireland. I have been lucky enough to have worked in many places over the world over the last sort of 20 years. I've worked in China. I've worked in Vietnam. I've worked in Azerbaijan. I've worked in Japan. I've worked in Iraq. Where else have I worked? I've worked in Spain and Italy. But I've also worked in summer schools in the UK. And that's what the theme of today's webinar is. I'm going to talk a bit about summer schools, not just in the UK. I'm going to talk a bit about Ireland, Europe, and also a little bit about America. But my strength isn't America. So if you have worked in summer schools in America, please do put that in the chat. But I'm going to, first of all, do a little presentation where I talk a bit about them, and then I'm going to answer your questions. So if you've got a question about working in the summer school, or if you've got any sort of questions about getting into teaching English as a foreign language, please do put them in the chat. I will answer them. If I can't answer them, then Alan, who's monitoring and does all the whizzy things that come up on the bottom of the screen, he will be able to answer them hopefully in the live stream. So please let us know where you are as well. I see Naina's in from Birmingham. Hi Naina. Rico's in again. Hi Rico, always good to see you in Alabama. Joan VR, I think it is Joan in the Netherlands. Hi. David's in Lincolnshire. Please do put us please do let us know where you are in the world and where you're watching. It's fantastic to know where everyone is. Right, so teaching at summer schools. Okay. So first of all, what is a summer school? Because some people do sort of ask me what makes a summer school different. And it's basically a school that is only open for the summer. End of presentation. No, not quite. So yeah, I mean, there are chains of schools, and in the UK, I'm sort of talking about here especially, and they don't exist for the rest of the year, and they only open for sort of 3 months of the year, and they get loads of students coming in to fly into the UK, and the students learn English, and then 3 months later, the students leave, or they might only stay for a few months, and then that school has no other work basically for the other sort of 8 months of the year, and that's generally what a summer school is. However, there are also special classes that are put on by year-round schools in the summer. So I know, for example, in Dublin, where I'm not that far from, the language schools, and there's a lot of them in Dublin, the numbers get really high of students in the summer. So they put on extra classes, they hire extra buildings, they employ extra teachers to come in the summer and work. In Europe, quite often the schools will have special summer schools where they give almost like full-time teaching for young learners over sort of a few weeks in the summer. That's quite common to happen in Spain, also in Italy. So there's a range of them, but basically a good way to think of it is that it's generally a school that's only open in the summer. And students, and they tend to be teenagers who go to summer schools. You do get summer courses for adults, and schools do run special summer courses for adults. But generally, on the whole, the majority of work is teaching teenagers who are not in their high school, not in their primary school. Their primary schools don't tend to travel so much, but high schools, the Spanish high schools, for example, don't operate over the summer, like the same in the UK. So what do? The kids have need to do something to occupy themselves. The parents send their kids to London, Edinburgh, Ireland, maybe even New York, or places like Malta to learn English. They spend a few weeks there. You're teaching them. It's very, very popular to go to the UK and Ireland. Ireland has really grown in numbers, especially since Brexit. I think, but there was as many summer school students in Dublin last summer as there were in London, if not there was more in Dublin. The numbers that go to Ireland are huge. The numbers that go to Dublin especially are huge. Taken as a country, probably more go to the United Kingdom, but as a city, Dublin is huge. So what happens in these summer schools? So a group of, let's say, 20 teenagers from a school in Italy will fly over to Dublin, and they will stay for 2 or 3 weeks. They have English lessons in the morning, and then in the afternoon they have fun or they have excursions. Now, what do I mean by fun? They will have some sort of organized games where they could play sports, or they could have art ones. You also get specialized summer schools where they do things like teach them business skills, teach them journalism, that kind of thing. Those are quite rare. Generally, the majority of summer schools they learn some sort of English classes. They're separated into the right levels. They spend the morning with an English teacher, a TEFL qualified English teacher. Then in the afternoon, they go out and they do something that doesn't really involve English. However, of course, they're speaking English. They should, they're learning that kind of thing. And those activities are sometimes run by the teacher. So you might be teaching in the morning, in the afternoon, having fun playing football, something like that, doing an art class, or they are run by local teenagers that are a few years older than the summer school students, or a mixture of both. Okay. And usually you teach to an end of course exam. It's very, very popular in these summer schools for the students to go back to their own countries with a certificate. Something like a Trinity certificate is quite a popular one in the summer. So you usually teach with a view of the students taking an end of course exam after 2 or 3 weeks, and they get an external examiner that comes in either or online and examines the teachers, examines the students, which is a job that I do. Right. Why are they good for teachers? So they are usually very, very well organized. So I've done about 4 summers or 5 summers, maybe, right at the start of my teaching life. I haven't done them for a good few years now. But the ones that I've worked with have been very, very well organized. That means the materials are there. Your contract is really good. The students are on time. They're level tested really well. All that sort of thing, usually really well organized. So it's a great way to get into teaching. It's also an opportunity to save money. If you go work in the UK or Ireland, quite often you get your accommodation paid for you. You quite often get your you quite often get your sort of rent paid for you, because you're going to go stay in the school with the rest of the teachers or go stay with the rest of the students. And your food is given to you. You don't have to pay for excursions. The only sort of expenditure you might have is if you go round the pub or you go to restaurants in the evening because you want to eat something different. So it is a good opportunity to save money. I've always saved money in the summer schools I've worked at. It's a really good way to meet students and other teachers, because you are in like this bubble of a summer school for 6, 7, 8 weeks. You're all working together. Hopefully you've got a really good bunch of teachers. Hopefully you've got a really good bunch of students. You can all get to know each other and you can work really well and you make some good friends from it. It's also a great way to see some parts of the country. So when I lived in London, I went and did a summer school in a place called Rugby. And that's in the middle of England. And a beautiful boarding school here, like a Harry Potter Hogwarts boarding schools there. And we lived there in that boarding school, and we taught in that boarding school, and we did lots of excursions all around that area. It was great fun. And it's a good way for people wanting to get into teaching. So if you've got your TEFL certificate, you've not really taught before, and you're based in the UK, or you've got the right to work in the UK and Ireland, it's a really good way to start teaching. It's a nice, easy way into it. You will work hard for 6 to 8 weeks, but it's a really good way to get into it. It's really good for the first steps into management as well. So the first summer that I worked, in the second summer, they actually gave me a job to manage the school, just like that. So I worked the first summer. It was all fantastic as a teacher. They then said, okay, you did a good job as a teacher. You were really good. So next year, please come and manage the school. And that was fantastic. Really enjoyed it. Right. So right now, it's the 24th of January. It's Wednesday. It's 4:10. Why am I talking about summer schools? Because yes, they are in the summer, but they are starting to be advertised. So let me just show you, okay, some of the jobs that are available at the moment. For example, on our website. So this is TEFL.org. So if you go to the top here, if you go to TEFL jobs, and then you select the TEFL Jobs Center, then you filter by country, and you filter, for example, the United Kingdom. That's that's because where the majority of them are. You'll see that these ones come up here, which I've just highlighted and I've clicked here. So EFL teacher in the summer. This one's in London, for example. It's a summer camp. It's up to 8 weeks, starting in July. It says experience desired. It doesn't say it's required, it's desired. Teaching kids. There's an unlimited number of vacancies, so they want a lot of teachers there. That's a good thing. There's lots of really good information here, lots and lots of detail. And things about your working week, and they're in now here January, looking for jobs to start in June, July. Here's another one. This one is a summer camp. It's 3 to 8 weeks of work. There's 50 jobs available. The deadline that they actually want people to apply by February. Lots more information here. Just need a TEFL certificate. Must be able to work in the UK. That's right in the middle of England. Another one here. Look at this. This is down in the southeast of England. So they only need a small number, this one, but it's a start in July. And you can see there's more information here, all that kind of thing. And if you've got one of our TEFL certificates, it's a great job to get into and start. You don't need a degree as well for that one. So that's just on our website, tefl.org. Now, if you go to this website, which is tefl.com, again, if you do a search for the United Kingdom, you can see there's 102 jobs currently available in the United Kingdom. And if you start looking down them, you will see that there are quite a lot of summer school work jobs. TEFL.com is where the majority of summer school jobs are advertised. And you can see here there's also academic manager jobs. You can see, so there's assistant manager jobs, residents, non-residents, lots and lots of jobs there. Go through them all and see if there's any at all that seeks your fancy. So it's January, but start applying now if you want to go work. Now, if you decide that by June, July time that you don't really want to work there, it's not going to be the end of the world if you don't go and do the job. But I've said no last minute. But do try and bear that in mind, that there are work now to go for in the summer. Right. Now, what about in the summer? What about in the USA? Sorry. So I did a quick search. Now, I'm not an expert at all for working in summer camps in the United States of America. So I did a quick search on Google for summer camp jobs, United States of America, ESL, and some are already coming up. So these are jobs to go and work in the United States of America, to teach ESL programs in Canada, the USA. There's one here, Summer School Works English as a Second Language in July. There's one here in the USA and Canada teaching ESL lessons. So there are summer school work in the United States of America as well. While I'm just doing this one, I looked for summer school work in Ireland. Now, the best way to do any sort of search is to go on Google and just to type in summer school jobs, Ireland, United Kingdom, America, whatever it might be. I did that as well. You can see here, look, there's some English jobs here to teach in summer schools. Now, some of them are all over the place, but you can see that if you look through them, spend the time checking them all, there are jobs available in Ireland. And last one I want to quickly show you is Malta, because there's always quite a few jobs in Malta in the summer. So I just typed in EFL jobs Malta. There's lots and lots of websites that come up about which you might need to click through. And you can see here, teach English in the summer in Malta. Teach here. That you got to go down. But basically, there are lots and lots of jobs available as well in Malta teaching. Right. So let's get back on this presentation. Okay. Right. So basically, it's January now, but start looking for July. What do you need to go work in a summer school? So you need the right to work in the country you want to teach in. So this is quite key with summer schools. If I was to go work full-time in China, I would apply for a job in China and they will sort out my visa for me. Same for the majority of the world to go work full-time 12 months a year. For summer schools, it doesn't really work like that. Schools don't sponsor your visa. So you need to sort out the visa yourself. And that can be easy, that can be difficult, sort of depending on a variety of factors. You do need to have a TEFL certificate, and the key number there is 120-hour TEFL certificate. Now, if you want to add on some extra modules, teach into young learners is a good one. Teach into exams is another good one. But the basic you need is a 120-hour certificate. You need a lot of enthusiasm to go work in summer schools. They will expect you to work a lot of hours. 40, 50-hour weeks, 6 days a week is very, very common in summer school work. It's knackering, but it's fun. Okay, so you do need a lot of enthusiasm. You will need a willingness to get involved in all activities. So they will say to you, right, they'll ask you about your teaching experience and things like that. But what you also need to do is look at what you could add in terms of playing sport, in terms of doing arts and crafts, in terms of any sort of after school activities, that kind of thing. And that really helps you in the interviews. Experience working with teens is an advantage. Now, it doesn't have to be necessarily teaching teenagers, but working with them is a big advantage to go and work for summer schools. You also need a free summer. It's not the sort of thing that you can do alongside something else. It's quite all-encompassing. So you definitely do need to sort of have a free summer when you work there. Now, some state a degree. I would apply anyway if I was you. They quite often say they want a degree when actually you don't need a degree. So have a little think. I would apply. If there's one you really like, apply. They quite often don't get enough applicants for the jobs. So go for it. Right, what do you get? You get a wage around £500 a week. Not too bad. You get generally all your food. Now, you will see some advertised where they don't give you the food. It's up to you whether you want to do that or not. You get all your rent, and by rent that means they will put you up in you get a room to yourself generally in some sort of hostel. You get your rent up. Now, when I say a hostel, basically what they tend to be is in boarding schools, where the boarding school students that usually are there aren't there over the summer, so they rent them out to summer schools, and you stay in there in those rooms. You get your paid trips to places. I got paid trips to London. I got paid trips to Cardiff, different places. You get all your materials generally. You get really good supervision. I've managed at summer schools, and the training they have for managers is pretty good. So you get a good bit of supervision, and you get up to about 8 weeks guaranteed work. Now, this is fantastic if you already teach in the EU, because over the summer, when your school might not be running, like your full-time job in Spain or Italy, for example, might not be open, and you might not be getting paid over the summer, you come to the UK and you do some 8 weeks of guaranteed work. Right. So what about not in the UK? What about in Europe? So there are summer school programs in Europe, and they tend to not be as well advertised just because of numbers. So many students come to the UK and Ireland that schools have to run adverts. Schools in Europe, they do run summer school programs, but they tend to not advertise them as much. Okay. That doesn't mean they don't exist. What I would do is contact schools and see if they are running. So I would, if I wanted to go work in Valencia in the summer, I would Google language schools, Valencia. I'd probably Google it in Spanish as well. I would then send emails and say, are you running in the summer? Do you need teachers? That kind of thing. I would also look for adverts on school websites, on school Facebook pages. And if they're advertising for summer schools, then they will need teachers. I would then contact that summer school. Now, Malta has a lot of summer school students, and EF Language Schools it's ones I've worked for. It's a really good company to get going with your English teaching career. They run a lot of schools, so they're worth looking at. Okay. Right. And I should say they're generally all over Europe. It's not just Spain. They run summer schools in Italy. They do run summer schools in Germany. They run schools in France over the summer. Worth looking at. Thank you for your questions. I will get to your questions in a minute. Okay. Right. What about from outside the UK? So that means if you haven't got a UK passport, but you want to come and work in the UK, it's tough to get a work permit for the United Kingdom. It's not easy to get a visa from outside the UK to come work here. I'm sorry. I wish it was, but it's not. There are quite a lot of barriers to getting a visa to come work for a summer in the UK. It's not impossible, but there are quite a lot of barriers. There is something called the Youth Mobility Scheme. It's kind of worth having a look at that to see if you're eligible. There aren't a huge amount of countries that are eligible for it, but it's worth having a look to see if that does work for you and that can somehow get you in there. Now, the USA might be easier than the UK. There is something called the J12 visa, I think it is. It's basically to try and get people to work in summer camps. See if you're eligible for that. See if you can work for that. See if that works. Right. Ireland is part of the European Union. So that means if you've got an EU passport, you can work there. There are summer school jobs in Ireland. Have a look for them. That might be something that you want to do. Might be something that you can get involved with. Right. Thank you very much. I'm going to try and get to your questions now. Thank you. Right. So please, if you've found that interesting or if you've got any tips or any other questions, please do put that in the chat. David, hi. Right. Can I find a list of summer schools for each country? Anything a little bit more specific than Google them? Okay. Right. So really, your best bet is to look for job adverts, first of all. So if you go to somewhere like TEFL.org or you go to TEFL.com, you will see the ones that are being advertised there. Right. There is also, let me just get the screen up again here. Something that you might want to have a look at. Now, this isn't necessarily the best way, but if you put into there British Council accredited, I can't spell accredited schools. If you type in that British Council accredited schools, this one comes up here, accredited centers A to Z, and here is an alphabetical list of all schools that are allowed to bring in students from outside of the UK. And you might want to see if there's one nearby that you like the look of. Now, it's not, you can't search by, well, I guess you could do a Facebook's, you could do a web page search for somewhere like Manchester and see where they come up. But you can't search from the British Council website for that. But what you've sort of going to have to go in for do it alphabetical order. So that was a list of schools that are accredited. Okay. Oh wait, you can also download the list. Apparently, it looks like so that might be worth having a look at. But I don't think that the way I would do it, David, would be to just look for jobs basically. So you go to TEFL.org, look for UK. Look or type in summer as a search, do the same on TEFL.com. They're the big two for summer school works, for summer school jobs. Okay. Next question from David. Hi, are summer schools mostly only found in the capital or the largest cities? No. So as I said, I worked in Rugby, which is a really quite smallish town in the UK by UK standards. That was where the summer school was. It was great. These summer schools tend to be in towns where, I've lost my train of thought there. Right, they tend to be in towns that are known, so sort of Manchester, Birmingham, Liverpool, Leeds, Edinburgh, Glasgow, Liverpool, I don't know if I said Liverpool, or around it. Now, basically, the kids have to sleep somewhere, and the kids tend to sleep in one of two places. They sleep in with a host family, so that means a local family with a spare room puts the kids up for about a couple of months. All right. And they get paid for it by the summer school, the parents, the new parents, the temporary parents. Or the kids stay in some sort of accommodation block, and not really hotels. It's something like a boarding school's sleeping area for the students that are usually there for the rest of the year. Okay. And those tend to not necessarily be in city centres. They tend to be a little bit out because they tend to be on quite big grounds and, quite nice. So the answer to that one is no, they're not only found in the capital, but they generally are found in the larger cities. However, saying that, my first one was in Swansea. That was a great time. Swansea is a city, but it's quite difficult. It's not known as one of the biggest cities. Hi, Wesley. Good day. Hi. You just wondering if it's a good idea to teach colours in the beginner level kid. And also on how old are the kids at this stage? Interesting question, this one. Not to do with summer schools. Please get in any question at all, even if it's not about summer schools. Right. Yes. So teaching beginners is kids, you teach them colours. When kids learn their first language, one of the first things that they start talking about, one of the first things they start thinking about is colours. Okay. And you would also teach that in a foreign language. So I have taught this to beginner kids sort of around the age of about 4, 5, 6. However, I would say that you would probably teach it to all beginner kids at some point. Probably not in a slightly different way. You'd hopefully sort of get it into like a small reading text or a video or something like that. But with really young kids around the age of 4, 5, 6, there's you would have to teach them in with like songs and that kind of thing. Okay. I hope that answers your question, Wesley. Atul, hi. How can you take a TEFL certificate and how much should I spend for it? Okay, that's an interesting one. So if you go on our website, Atul, let me show our website again here. So if you go to our website, which is TEFL.org, you can see here, TEFL courses at the top here. Find your perfect TEFL course. You scroll down, and this is the key one you're looking for. You're looking for a 120-hour Premier Online TEFL course. Okay, click on that. It's £184.50 is the price for it at the moment. The 120 hours is the magic number that will get you work around the world. Atul. Itul, sorry. It's probably Itul, your pronunciation. I'm sorry if I pronounce it badly. That's the magic number, 120 hours. That's what companies look for. Now, I'm not going to lie to you. I work for TEFL.org. You will find it cheaper. Okay, we are £184.50. You might find it for £90. You might even find it stupid cheap for like £20. But, and there is a but here, Itul. You kind of get what you pay for. Now, TEFL.org, we are accredited. What does that mean? That means if you go to, there's an About Us thing here. If you go to accreditation, have a look about this. It tells us about, now, what does accreditation mean? It means that we are checked by outside bodies, outside organizations to make sure that our courses are of good quality. They come and look at the tutors and they make sure that the tutors are doing a good job. Okay. You can see here, you can read more about it. The cheaper ones might not be accredited. And why is this important? It's important because if you apply for jobs, if you're applying with one certificate and someone's applying with another certificate and they look the same, the company will probably check the quality of the certificate and make sure that it's a good accreditation. So that's what I suggest to you, Itul. Okay. Good luck. Katrina, yeah, there are summer schools in Chelmsford and Colchester and Essex Hall, but they are generally all over the place. you don't tend to find them in big cities, and you'll sort of see that they are being advertised all over the United Kingdom, all over Ireland, and as well into Europe. I hope that has answered your questions. Thank you very much for staying with me. I apologize for my dog barking. Someone came to read our meter, electricity meter. I can see the guy coming down there, and my dog is not the friendliest of dogs. So thank you very much for tuning in. And now, if you've got any more questions, please go on our website, tefl.org. There is a chat with us function there. You can click on it and you can send us a message. You can either go on our Facebook page, you can send us a message through that. We also have a Facebook group, which I monitor and Alan monitors. We go through it and we can check the comments and the messages as well, and we reply to those. Okay. Thank you very much, everybody. Have a good day. Bye-bye.